Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tosh, and to my cyberspace side is Alex. Normally we meet in person, but this is just kind of a one-time thing. But this is Adept Athletics, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about our wildcard picks and why we are choosing them and why you're wrong for believing anything otherwise. Alex is going to take a stance and the lead on all the AFC games, and I will do the same for the NFC games. So Alex, go ahead, start us off with the Titans versus the Chiefs.
All right, I have the Titans taking this one. The Chiefs have the better quarterback in Alex Smith, no doubt, but the rushing attack is just really one-dimensional with Kareem Hunt taking all the snaps, whereas the Tennessee Titans have a dual threat in DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry. And the defense for the Kansas City Chiefs is older and kind of unpredictable at times, giving up big games towards the end of the season that led to their dry spell in wins, whereas the Tennessee Titans, they're on the rise right now. They beat the Jags week 17. Their defense is healthy. They're young and they're ready to go for their first championship run. What do
All
you
right.
think, Tosh?
Um, I would somewhat agree with all of those. Yes, I believe that the Titans have a stronger run game than the Chiefs, as the Chiefs are somewhat one-dimensional, but they do have that pretty strong offense nonetheless. I think the one thing that also needs to be pointed out is the Chiefs' defense somewhat lacks. I believe it's lower end of the league, I think around 25, 26, somewhere in there. Um, but I do think home field advantage is really important here. Specifically, playing in Arrowhead, from my understanding, is extremely difficult. I've never been there personally, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, it seems like it's a sort of environment that is hard to go into and come out with a W. Additionally, I think Marcus Mariota overall has been okay for the season, but I think that Alex Smith has shown a little bit more consistency. Marcus Mariota having a less than one touchdown interception ratio, and Alex Smith just sort of showing more of that veteran mentality, and so on. That's kind of my stance as to why I think the Chiefs are taking this one.
All right, Tosh, would you lead us into our first NFC matchup this Saturday?
I would love to, and I believe that last game is the only one that we differ on, unless you actually changed your mind since the last time we spoke about this. But we're going to start NFC games Saturday night, Falcons at Rams, and I believe that this game will be close and it will be very high scoring. These two teams are pretty offensively explosive. Um, Ultimately, I think that the Rams are going to take it just because Goff and Gurley help lead a great Los Angeles offense that honestly has been completely turned around since Sean McVay was signed. And personally, I think he's the coach of the year in my eyes.
I have to agree on you with the Rams winning this one. I just don't see the Falcons going into Los Angeles and taking on this Rams defense with that offense. Matt Ryan, he's a great quarterback, has potential, but I don't think he has put that Super Bowl loss behind him. I feel like that's going to be in the back of the head. That's going to be the distraction, how they bounce back. With the sixth seed going into the third seed, I just don't necessarily see the Falcons going into Los Angeles, beating the Rams. Jared Goff, Todd Gurley, they're both emerging as the stars that we all predicted they'd be someday. And that offense revamped, amazing. They have a lot of sleepers like Coop and Chris Givens, I think. I'm sorry.
Nah,
I'm so upset. That
no,
was so
just
good.
kind of flipping back. I definitely agree with you. I think the Falcons show a lot of inconsistency, whereas if I believe the only like really big slip up the Rams have had is when they played the Vikings, which best offense, best defense. It's kind of gonna go one way or another. There's no way to really control it. Do you have anything else to say about the Falcons at the Rams, or do you want to move into the next match?
Let's move into the next match. Bills at Jags.
All
I have
right.
been pulling for the Jaguars ever since 2012. I've seen them build the star power. I've seen them go out in free agency, the draft, and it's about time they start showing it. Blake Bortles, mediocre at best, but I feel like the defense they've built, the corners they've acquired, that defensive line could just shut down that Bills team that just barely edged their way into the playoffs. And if you look at it, they only got in because the Bengals beat the Baltimore Ravens, whereas the Jaguars, they're the third seed, and they're still the biggest underdogs in these playoffs. No one believes in the Jaguars because of their lack of talent throughout the whole um, previous years, but they have a new offense with led by their two running backs. Their wide receiving core is good. The quarterback is playing at a better level than he has in previous years, and I just don't see them losing to the Bills this year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna necessarily overhype the Jaguars offense. I think it's good. I think the running backs are a very strong staple of it, but I do think that, there's a bit of mediocrity with the rest of it. There's some improvement, but there's still a decent team, and that defense is really strong. And at the end of the day, playing against the Bills, and as long as the defense kind of provides for the team, as long as the Jaguars some conversions on offense, they run away with it pretty easily.
All right, my friend. If you have nothing else to add, we can move on to the last NFC wildcard matchup for this week. Take it away, my friend.
All right, the Panthers at the Saints. This is the matchup of the wild card weekend, and I think you would agree with me when I say that. All the other matchups are somewhat lackluster. You can kind of predict what's going to go on, but there are some differences of opinions, of course. We both have the Saints taking it in this one. Specifically, I think that the reason I chose the Saints is consistency. The Saints have shown a lot of consistency since the early parts of the season when they were kind of vamping up their offense, sort of getting their running back sort of core built up, um, kind of building together. And on the opposite side, they're playing against the Panthers, and the Panthers have been one of the most inconsistent teams in the league. They're either really performing, they're really on fire, or they're just getting destroyed by lackluster average teams, specifically Cam Newton. Um, just not really performing to the way he had a couple years ago. But with that in mind, I think that because Cam Newton's really only performed at home and not shown much great road performance, I think the Saints come away with it in the end.
I agree with the Saints taking it this year. Cam Newton, he just not convinced me as being an elite quarterback. His QBR rating is like a roller coaster. He goes up to above 100 to below 50. He's relying too much on his legs, and his passing ability is mediocre. If you look at the other side, Drew Brees has been a model of consistency throughout the years. He's that sleeper quarterback. He's reaching all of the records. He's slowly building up as probably the best passing quarterback in the league. We look at their running backs, Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara being able to probably win the Rookie of the Year. Mark Ingram finally showing that explosiveness that we all wanted to see out of college. Their offensive line is just uh, better than the defensive line for the Panthers. The receiving core for the Saints is just pretty. I just feel like it's better than the Panthers have. Michael Thomas and Ted Ginn Jr. could just help relieve that stress off Drew Brees. Whereas since the Panthers traded away their best receiver, they haven't been the same. Cam Newton hasn't passed the ball as much as receivers, and that comes to show. Whereas Christian McCaffrey might break out this game, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, and I think one really specific thing you touched on about the Saints is while they have Mark Ingram and while they have Alvin Kamara, if that isn't working against the Panthers, which I doubt it wouldn't work, if it's not working against the Panthers, you still have Drew Brees. There's no problem there. You can just win in the air as well. They have a pretty strong offense and a pretty solid team.
And
Um,
it's about time that the Saints come into a game with a better than mediocre defense. Their corners, they hit the jackpot with the rookies this year. We talked about Alvin Kamara on offense, but on defense they have uh, that corner, um, Marshawn Lattimore. He's coming out as a star. They have that really ramped up linebacking core with Matt Teo. Their safeties are good with Kenny Vaccaro. And then their just defensive line. Cameron Jordan is having one of his best seasons. And it comes in the best time trying to get Phillip Rivers that ring he needs before he retires.
I think you mean what's his face? Whatever. Okay.
Oh,
Um,
Drew Brees, yeah.
yeah, Drew Brees. Goodness. We both
Or
forgot
that.
his name. Anyways, just to kind of wrap it up, we got some general news. We're just going to talk about what to expect in the future from this channel. Definitely will not be in this format. We will be on camera in person, kind of discussing back and forth, feeding off of one another. We plan to show consistency, quality, and quantity. So we want to put things out there for people to enjoy, people to dissect sort of, and kind of give their own feedback. This isn't necessarily a persuasive sort of channel in any way, but we just want to get our opinion out there, see what other people are thinking, sort of express the news, and overall passion's all you really need in order to create something great.
And then once the NFL season is over, we will be covering baseball, basketball, and try our best with hockey. We will try to diversify ourselves throughout many different sports and try to talk to the community.
like
We'll be
cricket.
running, yes, like cricket. Don't forget lacrosse and Turkish mud wrestling.
Oh, you're right. Okay. And I think Alex was gonna say we're planning to bring in some guests as well, give their own inside opinion because, like, for example, I am not very suited when it comes to soccer, but we do know people who are much more uh, well versed in that field, so we will rely on them to give that same sort of quality content to anyone who might be interested in that field. Um,
And going back on that, not only are we going to be bringing this, try to bring it weekly, we'll also try to have different segments where we talk about different parts of each sport we have during that season.
that is very true. So I think we are going to close off now. This has been Adept Athletics, and you can go ahead and follow us on Twitter with Adept Athletics being our handle, and we hope to see you there, and we hope to see you in the future. Thank you very
All
much,
right.
and have a great day.